if we are perfectly honest, even if it's not your favourite. Do have to respect the track for what it is. So Carito, heavy braking zone into turn 1. Make sure you don't run wide there. Saw plenty of that on Tuesday nights. Swing it round through turn 2 and 3 flat out. And pick your braking point for turn 4. Clip the apex or run a bit wide, up to you. Doesn't matter too much, you won't lose too much time as long as you take enough speed. And back on that accelerator, DRS open, down towards turns 5 and 6, 6 and 7, the chicane. Get a good exit as the DRS is waiting for you. Down a pit grid, which other races use. Plenty of races at this track from different racing companies and formats through the very long brand new turn 9. Very tricky section, sector 3. Carito's not going to have the best of sectors, stuck behind another car here, but looks like no distractions from the AlphaTauri ahead. And through this tricky final sector, Carito sets us off on a 24.9. Track, of course, full of controversy after 2 in real life races ago, where I'm sure we're all familiar what happens. Hopefully we'll get no more controversy in our league races. Awful track, can't stand it. TJ, not a fan. You can check out TJ in action on Sunday night when Assist Tier 2 take to the track. Hissy, 25.1. Only a couple of tenths off of Carito. That's good going in the early stages. Firebird, 25.9 for his first competitive qualifying lap in IIRL. Aya separates Firebird and Hissy as Zidane goes quickest. Lost vibration under the hotel, so span. Hopefully you got some more charged batteries to get you through tonight. Yellow flag in sector 3. No one's stopped on track, but a Red Bull of Carito, sorry, going for a new lap in the foreground. Ross on the mediums. It was a bit of a banker, but not competitive. Asma Frog as well, not competitive, but I'm sure we'll get some improvements from them. Mr. Wiggles, 8 milliseconds behind Zidane at the top. Oh, as Ross goes for a bit of a spin and goes over the curbing at the inside of the exit of turn 3. Looked a nasty one. So Nicholas Platty coming around the final corner, going quickest. Of course, it's not about being quickest in Q1, it's all about not being slowest. Or in the bottom 4. Joseph Hales has joined. So 20 drivers now in the session. Joseph has 11 minutes to get a lap time on the board. Still half of the drivers haven't set a time either, as Asma Frog improves to a 24.6. As Ross goes again, just joined on board now with TD, who hopefully has got the battery charged in both the car and the controller. sparks flying. As you see the elevation change coming down the straight towards turn 6. Track on which easy to invalidate. Plenty of corners where you can. Turn 1 is a good example. Penultimate corner as well. Also, corner where you can cut it or extend track limits. This Sector 3 has been considerably improved with the new curb layout. Gives you a bit more track to work with. That corner as well. TD has just gone through that left-hander. Very easy to run wide as well, so plenty to watch out for. You'll see a few invalidations, but maybe not. Maybe not so much that we're in awe, as drivers enjoy going fastest. TD goes second, only to be dropped down to third as 1010 goes quickest on a 24-1. Padge has had a bit of an off, would seem. Just getting out of the way of other drivers there. Maybe he'll go back into the pits. Deflated wee then, as Snacks very handily talks about quali record, is being tipped, I would say, by other drivers tonight to beat some kind of record. Set a very quick lap time in practice, which, if he replicated that in qualifying here tonight, would get the record. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Maybe in the 5-minute break we can confirm the record, or maybe Snacks, you can have that as your mission tonight while you're watching the stream. Not in the car, Snacks. Shame to see, but can't race them all, I guess. Play we then round the final couple of corners, and is quickest. First and only driver so far into the 23s. And I'm excited to see what Fury can manage. As Trey has joined. If you are watching, please leave. There is no room for you. May glitch lobby you being here. Thank you. It's Q1, says TD, clearly astounded that someone has gone that quickly. Joseph L's on the medium tyres, so may not be the quickest lap time he can produce. Still, I'm sure. Just get a couple of laps under the belt. Gives you a bit of confidence. If you can nail a lap on these mediums, then you'll have complete confidence you can nail one on the soft tyres. Looked like he may be extended at the final corner, but turns out not. And Joseph Hales goes 8th fastest on the mediums. Pretty good there from Mr. Hales. Welcome here. We stream live on Twitch at 7:30 PM GMT, that is UK time, on Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday evenings. Tuesday has the no assist tier. No line, nothing. No assist whatsoever. Today, Thursday's assist tier 1. Drivers are allowed some assists. And assist tier 2, exactly the same, but for drivers maybe a touch slower. All our races are uploaded to our YouTube channel, so type in II Racing League on YouTube and you can drop us a subscription over there. Hanch does a great job at editing our videos as Raven goes 4th fastest. Nice pace there from Raven. Ross goes 2nd fastest. Also, thank you very much, Snacks, for that. You can check out more information about our league in the chat right now. Standings as well, you can follow that link. And all 3 divisions you can check out our standings for to your heart's content. Currently in the drop zone we have Colucci, Padge, Firebird with lap times on the board. Josh and Smiley without a time so far. Josh is using the medium compound tyre, so this needs to be pretty good, but I think he may have backed off. He's got 3/4 battery charged, so he will go for the charge on this lap. We'll go on board with the reigning 81 champion. Champion's perk means you can choose your car for the next season. And Josh opting to remain in the car that gave him glory last season. Getting down to squeaky bum time, as they say. 3 minutes left of the session. Drivers in trouble. We're a little bit nervous right now. We'll be thinking about going back out onto the track. Pascu96, please can you leave if you are watching the stream? There is no space for you. Thank you very much. Josh, very calm and collected, very smooth lap. Not too sure how quick it's going to be, but very smooth through this final sector. Josh proving why he is not only one of the quickest in this league, but one of the smoothest and one of the most consistent. 24.4. Makes him now the fastest on that medium compound. Let's check in with Firebird. Padge retiring from the session in 19th, so we all know what that means. Padge will be starting either 19th or 20th if Firebird can improve. Time to beat is Chaos in 15th, otherwise known as Greg. Aya closest to the charge. Firebird half a second up in this middle sector. Needs a little bit more. I'd say needs at least a second improvement if he wants to get himself into the top 15. And this might be his only realistic run at getting there. And Greg has retired from the session, so if anyone can beat his time, that is it. And Firebird with a 7/10 improvement, but still holding up that leaderboard at the bottom there, only by a few hundredths of a second. That will give him perhaps some confidence that he might be able to gain some places in that race. As Hissy goes for a spin at turn 3, and running low on battery, and with only 45 seconds left, it looks like Hissy has just missed an opportunity there. He has completed the lap time a few moments ago, but not quite quick enough to beat Greg. Oh, and both Ferraris having a bit of a spin. We saw that on Tuesday. Maybe there's a bit of a Ferrari curse going on at this track. Colucci then will be the only one to potentially challenge Greg for a spot in Q2. Asma Frog should be safe. I believe Aya has retired out on track. That's a little bit naughty. Maybe we can get something to him in terms of a message not to do that in Discord, perhaps. And Padge gifting a sub to TD. Thank you very much for the sub, Padge. Appreciate that, mate. TD, make sure to thank Padge. Lovely gesture. Beating me to it. Can't repeat that. So Colucci across the line and does beat Greg by 0.04 of a second. It is that close. A spot between Q1 and Q2. And Colucci makes it. Maybe the new IIRL tag has given him good luck, as Joseph Hales 4 milliseconds away from dropping into the 23s. Not to be. Joseph Hales improves to second. Perks of being a subscriber, of course, means you don't get to watch the adverts that are on the channel. We put them at the very minimum, but someone can redeem some ad breaks with your channel points. So if you are a subscriber, you don't have to watch the adverts. So then, 1.3 separating the top 20. That is how close this division is, and Greg, Hissy, Aya, Padge and Firebird fortunately are heading out for Ferrari-powered cars. First win in this league, has a pole position and a podium to his name. Still awaiting that first win. So far this season, TD, no points on the board. Failed to score at Baku and in both sprint and feature race in Brazil. Retired last week in France. Hopefully the track that he doesn't like tonight will give him a bit more luck. In a strange way, somehow that happens. The track you're best at or favourite at sometimes is the one where you have your worst result. Sometimes the track you hate is the one that gets you a very good result. Watching TD, he will be our featured driver for tonight. Featured driver is back for this week, in case you're unaware of what featured driver is, as TD goes quickest. It's a way for us to get to know our drivers. Mr. Wiggles beats TD's time on the mediums, but Zidane beats that time, and 1010 slots into fourth. As Platty has invalidated, Ross goes fourth, fastest, as Smaller Smiley coming out of the pits. Asmafrog gets a time on the board, but I'm sure they'll be going again. Yeah, feature driver, we'll find out more about that in the 5-minute break. It will all become clear. Kuritu, one half of a very strong Red Bull team in this division this season. Going 5th fastest, just a little bit shy of Ross's time. As Fury heads back into the pits, I wonder if there's maybe a missing wing. Can't tell from that angle, but I'm sure we'll see Fury again. TD heads back into the pits, and Joseph Hales, his teammate, just slots in behind TD there into 4th place. As Platty, second time lucky. First one invalid. This one is clean so far. Sometimes that happens, Novatek. Sure it's not done on purpose. All the best for Sunday, of course. Zidane takes that lap. I would if I were you. Only one driver managed to get into the 23s last session. And only a 10th away. Platty getting back to his best, second place. After last season was a little bit underwhelming. After winning season 2, Platty getting back to the best that we know he can achieve. Definitely Zidane impressing. Season 4 maybe a contender for most improved driver at the end of the season, but still got 14 more races after this one to go. Mr. Wiggles has decided to carry on going on that set of medium compound tyres, improves to second, and that will pretty much guarantee his spot in Q3. A smaller Smiley sets the fastest lap time we've seen this evening. 23.8. Raven also one of many drivers to impress in Q1. What can Raven produce in Q2? Josh still in the pits, leaving it a bit later, like in Q1. Raven ducks into the pits. Pick up them deflated wee. Many people's thoughts could be up there in the championship fight. Our current championship leader leading Killian by 10 points, who can't make it tonight. Leading Carito and Josh by 18 points. So, very high chance tonight that Deflated Wee will end tonight leading the championship. But will he extend his lead? That is the question. Top 6 all in the pits. It's Deflated Wee goes fastest. 23.6. 2/10 faster than Smaller Smiley, making it a McLaren 1-2. Haven't seen that in a while. Waiting in the pits around 8 minutes or so. Will that be 8 minutes wasted, or 8 minutes waiting for the track to evolve and get quicker? Ten drops into the 23s, goes there fastest, and all but ensures his spot in Q3. Not expecting anyone in the 23s to head out in Q2, seeing as only one managed it in the previous quali session. Pole position last season was a 23.3. Both Killian and Deflated Wee hitting 23.3, so maybe that will be beaten tonight. Only a few tenths away as Josh goes second fastest and Albert ensures his spot in the next part quali. Fury then with the initial lap time, not competitive, along with Asthma Frog, who we're still awaiting to see emerge from the pits. Colucci also in the drop zone, still in the pits. Raven out on track, setting a lap time as we speak. Ross also in the drop zone, not used to seeing that. And furthermore so as he's pushed down, Fury up to 8th. Eltec, I'm excited to make 1-1 front wings replica. Managed to get the wing from the F175 Ferrari from the 2022 season. Going to be fun, sounds awesome. Not entirely sure what that means, but I'm sure replicating front wings is going to look cool. TD 23.9, 8 milliseconds behind his old nemesis 1010. And should see TD through. 3 minutes left as Raven does 24.1. Beats his teammate Mr. Wiggles. However, Mr. Wiggles is out on track now with a set of soft tyres on the car. What about Joseph Hales? In the drop zone as things stand. Time to beat is Fury's 24.2. So Joseph Hales needs more than 4 tenths improvement. He's got 2 and a bit tenths in the locker. But still needs a good last sector here. This could be very close between Joseph Hales and a spot in Q3. Mercedes of Asthma Frog back out on track now. Joseph Hales 24.0 ahead of Carito by a very small margin, just missing out on beating his teammate once again. Plenty of drivers starting lap times. Go on board then with Platy, see what he can manage. Ross, Colucci, Asma out on track, Zidane out on track as well. Happy with the first run, but maybe not quite quick enough. Platy abandoned the lap, getting out of the way of others. Certainly, TD, it is close. Only 3 tenths separating second to 9th. 5 tenths separating second to 12th. Fury is improving, but only just. Not enough to jump ahead of Mr. Wiggles, who is out there on the soft compound tyres behind Fury on track. So if Fury beats Wiggles, Wiggles may just knock straight back on the door and beat Fury's lap time. Looks like Wiggles is gaining time behind Fury, so maybe Wiggles is on an absolute flyer. Fury out of battery, across the line and goes 8th. Mr. Wiggles goes 2nd. And that will see Mr. Wiggles through. Fury maybe can still get through here, but might be a bit more nervy in these final moments of qualifying. Raven into the pits. Currently, or will be out of qualifying with only 10 seconds left. This is going to be it now or never for a lot of these drivers. Ross is improving. Colucci is on a slow lap, so I think Colucci will be out. Asma Frog. Will he make it through? Maybe, maybe not. To the line, it's a 25.0. Not enough improvement there. And Asma Frog finishes in 14th. Colucci retires in the pits in 15th. Raven is out in 11th. Ross and Platty, the next ones. Here comes Ross and goes 5th fastest and gets himself through. Good lap under pressure there from Ross. As we have... who is that? Someone. Here comes Platty. 8th fastest. Pushes Fury into the drop zone. And a slow lap for Fury. And he won't be able to make it through. Zidane, great lap under pressure. 23.8. Pushing Kirito out. Kirito 3rd in the championship. And a Q2 exit. And Joseph Hales breathing a huge sigh of relief. 4 milliseconds was the gap between him and a potential exit from Q2. That is so close. 23.6 from Deflated Wee and a 24.1 from Raven. Half a second separating the top 13 drivers. So there we have it, less than 4 tenths between the top 11. Exactly half a second between the top 13. Colucci starts 15th on the grid, Asmafrog 14th. 13th place belongs to Raven. 12th belongs to Fury on his debut. And Kirito, slight shock, out in Q2, but only by smallest of margins. So, I have to say, a little unfortunate. Joseph Els, Platty, TD, 1010, Ross, Smiley, Smithy, Josh Wiggles and Wee are the top 10. Life's too short to worry about what lap time someone else is going to do. A couple more drivers out on track now. 1010 in the Haas. TD's teammate Joseph Hales possibly going out of the pits now to give TD a bit of a tow down towards turn 6. Definitely looks like that might be the case, as your poll says Deflated Wee is going to get pole here tonight in TD. Oh, it's a beautiful slipstream. Might have gifted another 10th and a bit, maybe 2 tenths, depending on how strong the tow was. But as we saw in Q2, that extra 10th might be what puts you in the top 5. Or dare I say it, what gets you pole position. TD has a pole position to his name in the Netherlands in season 1 or 2. I can't remember which one it was. Truly brilliant lap to beat the champion of that season, John B. If you know John B, you know how quick he was, and TD's got this in his locker, you know. Sets us off. 24.4. Not as quick as Q2. Deflated Wee, 23.3. Almost identical to what he managed last season. In fact, he's only a couple of hundredths away from his personal best last season. Ross does 24.1 and slots into P2. Mr. Wiggles has a banker, so you better believe he'll be going for another lap as we speak. Looks like a bit of a spinner in Sector 3, just getting back up to speed. May have been Joseph. May have been someone else. I think Joseph Hills actually might be getting a bit of a slipstream from TD on his own lap. Platty pits, so that is the person who had a bit of a spin. 10-10. 23-6. Pretty good. But that shows you just how powerful Deflated Wee's lap was. Joseph Hales, 23-6, beating 10-10. Nice lap there. Good effort from Hales. Smaller Smiley. This one's invalid. But we'll go again. Josh looks pretty good through that chicane. Very smooth, clipping the apexes. Oh, that's gone, TJ. Worn tyres, says TD. Must have a new set for Q3, I imagine. So Josh has seen his teammate head out in 11th. Where can he put that Red Bull? 23-4 puts him second on the grid. Pretty good. Zidane pops in there. 23-7. Could be with an outside shot for spotting the top 3 perhaps tonight. Most people in the pits, Platty, Smiley, pitting without a lap time on the board. Mr. Wiggles did a 30.6 as a banker, went again, but pitted, maybe low battery or just made a mistake perhaps. Very close. Pole tonight for Wiggles would tie him for the record. Very capable. There's a league race. There's a League I race from UK. Get up at 4 AM to race. Wow. That is commitment. Even my wife's impressed. Well, best of luck for your league race. Where are you at this time around? Drivers, you can see in the background of Wiggles' time lap, weaving, getting heat into the tyres for their flying runs. TD Platty out on track, Joseph Hills behind on a time lap as well. The other 6 are in the pits and leaving it quite late. 2 minutes 15 left in the session and no activity coming out of the pits, as you can see on your track map. This may come down to who gets the line in time. Everyone should get out who wants a lap, but if they leave it too much later, it's going to be very close. Perhaps people know that track evolution is very powerful here, as Mr. Wiggles goes 4th fastest. That lap time would have been good enough for P1 in Q1, but for now, it's only good enough for 4th, and Joseph Hales through the middle sector, 7 milliseconds to the good. Won't change his position of 3rd as he massively runs wide at the final corner. Gains a little bit of time by it, but doesn't improve his overall position. Platty and TD now, the 2 to focus on. Everyone out on track. Platty, no time so far. Nothing to compare it to. Very close between the top 6. Only 4 tenths separate them. And the lap times are going to thunder in. So I hope you're ready for some Q3 chaos. Try and get everyone's lap time as they come in. Platty is next. across the line. 23.3 is the target. It's a 23.8 and goes 7th. What about TD? He's backed off and will go again. In fact, no, he hasn't. It showed me a different car. TD improves to a 23.8, but only good enough for P8. Joseph Hale's boxes. And third is the best that he can hope for in this session. Ten, marginally up through middle sector. We'll put him ahead of Wiggles as things stand. Almost extending turn 9 too much, but keeps it in the limits. Half throttle, no throttle, half throttle, full throttle out of this tricky sector 3. Pushing the limits of 6th gear through the final corner in 5th. Doesn't run wide. Puts in a 23.4 and goes front row of the grid. Deflateaway round the final corner. Can he extend his grip on pole? Yes, he can. 23.1. New lap record for IIRL for Deflated Wee as Josh replaces 10.10 in 2nd place. Ross across the line to go 5th fastest. Any other improvement? Smaller Smiley, first lap of the session, goes into P8, dropping Platty and TD down a place. But Deflated Wee, wow. Very impressive stuff, taking pole position by 0.2 of a second. And channeling my inner spark. It's an A record. Bosch. Bosch indeed. You certainly smashed that one out of the park. Congratulations. So, I had a feeling we might see some donuts. Good old TD. So, pole position number 6 for Deflated Wee. Unless he got one last week, then it's number 7. I haven't updated the driver stats yet. Josh on the front row of the grid in the Red Bull. 10.10 missing out on the spot in the front row in the last moments, but 3rd place, I'm sure he'd be happy with that, as Joseph Hales in the Alpine bumps up row 2 in 4th. Ross and Wiggles again seem to find themselves racing each other for the 100th time in this league. 5th and 6th on the grid for them, as it's Zidane and Smaller Smiley on row 4. And row 5, Platty and TD, again renewing their rivalry, which this season has been very intense, I have to say. Sorry, thought it was the final race. Hey, we take donuts all year round. Certainly was a great lap. Deflated Wee certainly does seem to be the one to beat. Just has that extra maybe 10th of pace in quali and has that consistency in the race. Digit rival on the front row of the grid. Will we see some chaos into turn 1? Has everyone remembered their setup? Demon Jonesy, good evening. As the sunset falls in Abu Dhabi, it is McLaren and Red Bull on the front row. And we are underway. 29 laps, correction. And into turn 1, looks like Deflated Wee has the best run. 3 wide between Joseph, 10.10 and Ross. And it looks like 10.10 running wide, keeping hold of 3. Oh, and Joseph looks like he's been turned into in turn 2. People have been collected. Raven, TD's involved, Fury, Colucci, I think Greg's involved. There's something out on track. Is it a safety car? It's a VSC. So absolute chaos at Abu Dhabi. This VSC gives us a little bit of a chance to catch our breath. Maybe some of these people in the back may have some damage as TD has come off worse from that. Down 10 places. Joseph Hales also down 10. Firebird, though, up 10. Cracking start, capitalising on all the chaos in front of him. from 20th. Hissy, Aya, both Ferraris and Padge all up 6. Carito, Platti, Zidane, Ross also gaining places on the start. Asma, Colucci, Raven, Fury involved all in that opening corner chaos. TD does not have a front wing, so we'll need to pit. VSC still active. But chaos in Abu Dhabi. A couple of restarts. A couple of drivers who may get 10-second time penalties for starting the race too early. As the race is back underway now, VSC over Deflated Wee leads us away on lap 2. Colucci pits, TD pits. Raven has gone for a bit of a spin at the penultimate corner. As Aya now is dropping, and that's a spin at turn 2. No front wing now for Aya. He'll need to pit and get a new one. So expect to see another pit stop as Zidane has lagged out from 6th place. In the background you see Ross getting past 10-10. No DRS until lap 3. Absolute chaos. Zidane there, his AI getting overtaken by Carito, who qualified 11th, up 5 places already. And now Platti getting past Zidane, who has rejoined the lobby. And as he gets back in the kart, he will be behind smaller Smiley in 9th, and maybe behind Firebird in 10th. Let's then have a look at the tyres people are on. A sea of white and yellow tyres as Hissy gets passed by Joseph Hales. Looks like Zidane is back in the car in 9th, so not too much time lost. Still in a bit of a DRS train behind 10-10 in P4 as Deflated Wee now has a 2-second advantage in the opening 2 laps. Those on the mediums will look to pit maybe around lap 12 or 13. Those on the harder tyres maybe pitting around lap 17 or 18. As Ross is making a move, as the quicker tyres on the car. Making a mistake though. This could allow Josh an opportunity to fight straight back here. Ross manoeuvred his car through turn 8 in such a way that he didn't let Josh through at the chicane, but he has lost about half a second now to Deflated Wee. Tencent gaining on Wiggles. And on Tuesday night we saw a few of the front runners in the opening few laps make some uncharacteristic mistakes, spinning and losing ground back to the midfield. I wonder if we're going to have any more of that here tonight. That's something I need to turn off. Yes, good evening, Demon. Hope you're well, mate. Nice to see you. So Raven has lost some time with that spin at the penultimate corner on lap 1 or lap 2. TD, Colucci, Aya have all made pit stops. That's why they are at the back. See Carito eyeing up a potential move into turn 6 on 10-10. Carito with the medium compound tyre, so we'll have a little bit more pace and grip in this portion of the race. If you're not familiar with F1, all drivers must use 2 different compound of tyres in the pits in the race. So those hard runners right now with the white tyres on the car will most likely go on to the mediums and vice versa. Mr. Wiggles is pitting. Does he have damage? And retires. Maybe something's happened and he can't make the race anymore, but that is very unusual. We don't see that a lot of the time. Running up there in 4th place, and well, that is a bit of a shame. Lap 5 DRS has been enabled now for a couple of laps, and get the feeling Carrito looks incredibly likely to get this move done on 10-10. Flies past on the outside line and up into 4th. Carrito and Josh qualifying 9 places apart, but now next to each other on the grid. Someone having a bit of a spin. I believe that's Colucci in turn 3. Deflated Wee has a bit more pace on Ross in this phase of the race. Gap is now up to 3.6 from around 2.6 from when Ross got past Josh. So Deflated Wee has the pace at the moment. Can Ross close that gap in the next couple of laps? That restart messed me up because Firebird pressed A and my tyre pressures were maxed on the rear. Car was becoming undrivable, says Mr. Wiggles. That is a heck of a shame. Many commiserations, very unlucky. It does show everyone now why we have that 5-minute break. Make sure everyone's car is in a drivable state. Smiley and Smithy fighting now over 7th place after Wiggles' retirement bumped them up a place. But all within the DRS of Carrito in 4th, so no distinct advantage for anyone. However, Zidane... Oh, what's happened to Smiley? Ran wide. I was thinking, where's the McLaren? He ran wide and Smithy gets past. 7th place now for Zidane. Hoping to score some good points, just like the footballer. Padge, veteran of the league. One of only 4 or 5 drivers to reach 100 races in IRL, as Raven has retired out on track. A bit naughty, and running wide we have Firebird. Side by side, Padge is now past. Takes the outside scenic route. Oh, Firebird just going off track there, getting a time penalty. And Greg here, as Firebird has lagged out. That's a very unfortunate time to lag out. Right as Greg gets past, Colucci retires in the pits. That should not bring out a safety car. Must remember, I'll write it down. Raven retires on track. Lap 7 then, Deflated Wee round the final corner to start lap 8. Has a 4.4 second advantage on Ross, so the last time we spoke about it, he's pulled out another 7 tenths. Ross still defending from Josh, although I'm not sure Josh has the tyres right now to pass. He does have the tyres and the pace to keep up. So that will help Josh in the second phase of the race when the tyre situation is switched. Carrito defending, as we know, from 10-10, Platty, Zidane and Smaller Smiley. Bringing out the top 8. Joseph Hales in 9th. Was affected by that opening lap chaos, we should call it. And Hissy staying out of trouble. Left in Q1, but still in the points as things stand, as we see 10-10 making a move on Thorel Carito. Wiggles, are you in the chat? No worries if you're not. Not too much going on. We've got a 4-way battle, 5-way battle for P4 going on. But no moves as of yet. Carito and Zidane are on the medium compound tyre, so we'll need to make a pit stop earlier in the race. I think Firebird may not be back in the lobby yet. You know what? Let's give them an invite quick, just in case they're not here. I think that's ghosted. Not too sure. Lap 9. Carito coming under all sorts of pressure from Flatty. Carito, at the moment, out of the RS range from 10-10 in front. Gap has stabilised out front between Wee and Ross. Them two on identical tyre strategies. Carito, no DRS from 10-10, yellow flag, that's Fury. Spinning in turn 3, getting overtaken by TD. And yellow flags all over the shop as we have Aya going into the pits. And retiring from the race. You see Platty getting past Carito there in the very long turn 9. And now up into 5th. Maybe those yellow marked mediums are just losing a bit of pace, perhaps. Big slide from Platty. Moves over to the right, makes sure drivers behind don't get his slipstream. Looks like the 100-meter brake mard board has left us in turn 1. Seems to be a very common occurrence at this track, as Aya's car was brought back out onto the track. I don't know why they do that. When someone retires in the pits, the AI brings them back on track for some reason. Might have been a slight distraction for these four. 10-10. Sitting pretty right now in 4th. Knows that these 3 are fighting behind, so maybe can use that to his advantage. But Platty has the momentum, has gone up the field rather than down the field. Looking to close as Smaller Smiley. There you see it, spinning. Big mistake in that middle chicane on the track. Turns 7 and 8. And dropping from 8th place to 12th. Out of the points as things stand, but still couple of seconds in front of him is the battle for ninth, so could find himself on the back of that shortly. But needs to make sure his tyres aren't overheated. Zidane pits from 7th. That is the first pit stop from the medium runners that we have seen. Josh then matching his personal best in the middle sector, in the opening sector. So still has good pace here, Josh, not letting those hard tyres die on him. Still decent pace from Ross on those mediums, old mediums, to keep Josh at bay. But just a sign this lap that maybe Josh has a bit more confidence on those tyres than Ross does. The DRS for Josh, not close enough. Ross low on energy, and Deflated Wee pulling another 3 or 4 tenths in this lap so far. Josh eyeing up potential move here into the top 2. Deflated Wee has had not a boring race, just a very lonely race out in front now, leading by only over 5 seconds. Tintin, you can see in the background, still holding Platty at bay, not allowing Platty into the DRS range. Yellow flag in sector 1, and 10-10 at the first corner has spun the car round. Dropping to 6th place, finds himself now in Joseph Hale's company. Firebird pits off those medium compound tyres as here comes Josh down the inside of Ross. Routine move. Can Ross get enough traction to fight back? It's a nice helmet design. But not close enough. And those mediums, looks like the crossover has arrived. Those hard tyres now are in better condition than those mediums. Hissy and Padge very close. Fighting Greg. 3 long-standing members of this league. 3 veterans, you could say, all battling for 8th. Deflated Wee pits from the lead, and 10-10 gets a time penalty for corner cutting. Ross also boxes off those mediums, and Kirito joins them. So those 3 will be onto the hard compound tyres for the rest of the race. As in the background, Greg just losing a bit of traction at the final corner. 13 laps now they've done on those hard compounds. Josh leads Platty. Joseph Hale's now up into the podium slot. 10-10 after that spin, does hold 4th place, but still needs to make a pit stop. Deflated Wee comes out in 5th, in front of this fight. And see Deflated Wee there, weaving to get heat into those hard compound tyres. Will Hissy cause Deflated Wee a bit of a headache, almost a bit of contact there. Hissy does well to not run into the back of our former race leader. It looks like Deflated Wee has got the advantage that he needed. He can bring those tyres up to temperature, and in a few moments time might find himself on the back of 10-10. Very interesting race. It started off all frantic and chaotic, but it's settled down now. A few mistakes starting to creep in though. A few people have had a bit of a spin, had a bit of a moment. Hissy there, the latest of drivers, just to get a snap of oversteer and have to correct the car, puts himself under enormous pressure from Padge and Greg behind. Smaller Smiley had good opening few laps, but has struggled in the past 5 or so, losing spots to Zidane and Joseph Hales, I believe. DNF's Mr. Wiggles. Problems with the setup after the restart. Not enough time to lower the tyre pressures, so that car was not drivable for him. Very unfortunate, not his fault at all, as we've got 10-10 being overtaken by Deflated. More action in this part of the track. This time Ross made a fabulous overtake on Tuesday night, round the outside of turn 9. And this time, well, he was already partially ahead going into turn 9. That one just proves maybe outside of turn 9 is a good spot to overtake on this track. That's twice now in 3 days that Ross has done that. And someone into the pits, Padge, going for a bit of an undercut here. We said round lap 17 or 18 for those hard tyre runners. Padge going for a bit of an undercut here on Hissy, and it might work, you know. These mediums are pretty quick around here. We saw the pace difference in the opening few laps between the mediums and the hards. TD boxes. He boxed on lap 1 after his front wing was gone. So he boxes from the mediums on to a brand new set of mediums. We may see TD go for a fastest lap attempt. That's very common for TD to do that. Deflated Wee, though, as Novatek says, is flying. Nothing getting in Deflated Wee's way here tonight. Has all the confidence in the world. Had a 5-second lead before his pit stops, so once all the pit stops have happened, should expect to be at least 5 seconds ahead. As we see Joseph Hales, 10-10, and Greg all pitting. Smaller Smiley joins that quartet of drivers in the pits. Greg covering off a potential undercut from Padge. Hissy stays out. And all eyes now turn to Padge to see if he can get that move done on Greg. Was already ahead, but no guarantee that he will come out of the pits ahead of Greg. In fact, he has had a brilliant outlap, and Greg is just coming out of the pits now. Padge has a huge advantage now. Smaller Smiley could be the one to make a move. Both pitting this lap. Smaller, DRS in hands. And pretty routine move there. Up into the points again. Hissy will have to pit, so these two need to get their foot down if they want to try and get Hissy. When he comes out of the pits, Josh and Platty pit from first and second. Obviously they will go onto the medium compound tyre for the final 12 laps of their race. Deflated Wee retakes the lead, and you can see on the track map the advantage he's got. Try and join this group here. So Ross comes out in second, as he was. Josh has lost a little bit of ground, of course. Deflated Wee and Ross have been on new tyres for the past 4 laps, so they're bound to have a bit of pace advantage in that window. But now Josh has the better compound of tyre, and only 3 seconds behind Ross. Hissy, I imagine, will be pitting either this lap or will be holding out for a set of soft compound tyres. TD sets a new fastest lap of the race. Hissy has some Ferrari strats. We saw it on Tuesday night, actually. I think maybe one or multiple drivers went from the hard to the soft tyres at the end. So potentially Hissy trying that out. Hard to say if it's a bad strategy, because if it works for him, can't really call it a bad strat, can you? But may find himself behind Padge after that undercut attempt. Smaller past Greg, 10-10 now. Past Greg 2. Hissy does pit, so I imagine this will be a medium set of tyres on the car. Josh has now 2.6 seconds to catch the reigning NA champion, IIRL J. Joseph Hales steals fastest lap back from TD. Teammates at war at Alpine over the fastest lap of the race. He pits and does definitely lose out to Padge, loses out to smaller Smiley and 10-10. And Greg said maybe might have a chance of getting Hissy here. And whilst Hissy is bringing those tyres up to temperature, Greg will look to pounce, pulling out to the insides. Two Ferrari-powered cars in the Middle East. And you can see in the foreground, 10-10, smaller Smiley. Ooh, 10-10 time penalty. Just went over that curb at the entrance to turn 9. Gets a really good exit though, attempting to overtake around the outside of 10. That's a bold move, and I have to say wisely backs out of that one. These four now on identical tyres, battling over 9th. So a bit of a rain check now then. Everyone's made their pit stops. Deflated Wheat leads this race by 7 seconds and has looked untouchable. Ross has a hard job in his hands to defend from Josh, as we have one of the Mercedes of Asma Frog having a bit of a moment in Sector 3. Josh is gaining on Ross at about half a second a lap, I would say, approximately, maybe more than that, and is almost in DRS range. Zidane in 4th right now. Very, very impressive stuff, defending from Carito, Platty. Joseph Hales 4 seconds adrift. I think he's lost some time, actually, in the past few moments. It's 10-10 still trying to make his way past Smiley. I'm sure Smiley will be on his face if he can get past that McLaren. Battles up and down the field. We got TD and Firebird now meeting. Firebird still not in this race, actually. Ghosted, so maybe didn't rejoin, maybe can't rejoin. TD up into 13th place, as out in the front. Josh making his move. Yellow flags in Sector 1 and 2. I believe Hissy has had a bit of a moment. Lost out to Greg. Platty and Carito swapping places into turn 9. Plenty of action here. It's not been as frantic as the opening lap, as Hissy and Craig swap places again. Everyone made their stops. Padge currently the one with the most positions gained. 10-10 drops into the pits where he retires from the race. But strong showings from Ross, Zidane, Platty, Carito, Hissy, Greg up places, Firebird as well from the back of the grid. Does find himself second last, but still up 6 places, I'm sure. Won't mind that too much, but maybe more penalties coming his way after the race. We're starting the race too soon. Platty and Zidane. A heated battle for fourth. Vote for your driver of the day in the poll. Ross out of DRS range now. Josh has free rein to try and close that gap. It's reduced from 7 to 6 seconds now. But can Josh close at a rate of 1 second per lap? With Deflated Wee's pace and the form he's been in recently, might be a tall ask here. Zidane moves to the left to break the slipstream, moves to the right to break the slipstream. Mupper. After the race, you got to spam him. He'll hate me for it, but it'll be hilarious. And here's the move. Potentially been expecting this. Platty, with quicker tyres on the car at this stage of the race, makes his move on Zidane up into fourth. However, still plenty of time for Zidane and Carito to drain Platty's energy, perhaps. Maybe force Platty into a mistake. Just because Platty has the better tyres doesn't mean he's going to keep that fourth place finish. Ross looks good for a podium, has a 7-second advantage on this trio of drivers here, this cluster looking for fourth. Joseph Hales in 7th place right now, has a good advantage over Padge, who has a comfortable lead over Smaller Smiley. Hissy and Greg still fighting on the back of Smaller Smiley for 9th as well. One of them three, as it stands, is going to miss out on a point. Fury battling with TD, our feature driver. See if anything happens on this straight between these three. Looks like Platty got the better exit out of these three and keeps his advantage over fourth. What TD then? Can he get close enough to a spot in 12th? Fury has the time penalty anyway, so as things stand, TD will jump a place. This just shows you, as we have a look at the gap of the leader, TD's made an extra pit stop and has had no front wing for lap 1. Finds himself 50 seconds off the lead. That's how much one incident here can cost you. Certainly TD is not 50 seconds slower than Deflated Wii over the course of 29 laps, but just what happens sometimes when something happens on the opening lap, it ruins the rest of your race. And the fastest lap does belong to TD at the moment, so is stealing a point away from those top runners. No move as of yet. Penalty situation, just the 3 drivers with time penalties, only 3 seconds apiece. So overall the standard has been very good in terms of keeping it clean, keeping it on the track. lap 25 of 29, Deflated Wii round the final corner to start lap 26, and Josh has got that gap down to under 4 seconds. Josh is a man on a mission right now. Are there going to be enough laps in this race? He's got 4 more laps to gain 4 seconds. By the time he gets maybe in DRS range, maybe his battery is completely flat. What's happening here? Carito. Oh, Zidane. What's happening here? I said I was on board with Carito and it put me on board with Joseph Hales, who has massively closed the gap here. You can see in the background only 1.8 behind. Zidane backs out of this. This is allowing Joseph Hales a lifeline as Zidane clatters over the inside curb of turn 8. Smaller Smiley, something had to give with these 3. Finally a move has been done. Hissy ahead of Smaller Smiley now. Defending from Greg, who's got the slipstream. But not using the battery. Just waiting, biding their time. Josh has got that gap down to 3.4. He's gained another 0.6 on that rotation of the circuit, but that's not enough per lap to make a move. As Smaller Smiley, you just see running wide there and getting a time penalty that's going to cost him a point to Greg if Greg can keep this clean for the next 3 laps. Joseph Hales on the back of this trio now, making it a 4-way fight as down the inside goes Carito and Platty, still side by side at the exit of turn 4 and the long drag race. Platty doesn't have the DRS because he was ahead into the detection zone. Last thing you want to do is run into the car in front of you here. And I do not want to call who's going to finish top of this group. Oh, Joseph Hales, you see in the background, getting a bit of oversteer out of turn 8 and losing a bit of ground. And potentially that could be his shot at the top 6 spot over. I would still never say never. These 3 could end up fighting so much that they cost each other a second per lap. Deflated Wii now leads Josh by 2.6 seconds. It's gone down by another 0.8 on lap 27. But at this current pace, Deflated Wii is going to win by around about 1 second. Josh trying everything in his power. It looked like Deflated Wii was going to run away with this, but one mistake here for Deflated Wii. 1 time penalty will cost him the race win. Smaller Smiley boxes, and that time penalty was going to cost him points anyway. Maybe he's going for a fastest lap, seeing he's not going to get points anyways. Indeed he does. Carito now at the front of this pack. Ross will definitely get a podium, bar any major mistakes. And his strategy hasn't been bad, it's just he hasn't had the pace of Deflated Wii. Fury and TD boxing for soft tyres. Also, 3 drivers out there going for a fastest lap attempt. We'll try and keep our eyes on that whilst we continue to watch these battles out on track. Deflated Wee round the final corner to start the final lap of the race, and there was no gain for Josh on that occasion. Gap is 2.5. Final lap of the race. It has been a valiant effort from Josh, and one that I'm sure he is very proud of. But the gap, it would seem, after the pit stops was just too great. Points are pretty much sorted. No one in the top 10 has any time penalties, and 11th place Smaller Smiley is a whole pit stop behind. But in which order will these 3 finish? Carito, Platy, Zidane, out of DRS range. It's been an incredible showing from Zidane here, knowing that he is not perhaps on the same level as Platy and Carito, but has hung with them for the whole race here. He can hold his head high. On board with Deflated. It's been a masterclass. He led by 2 seconds in the opening lap as Carito and Platy trading places on the final lap. We'll check in with them in a few minutes' time, but Deflated Wee, it has been perfection tonight. He wins by 1.7 seconds. Josh, a valiant effort as he crashes over the line to get 2nd place. Deflated Wee extends his championship lead to, I don't know, we'll figure it out in a minute. Carito making a move on Platy in that final lap and gets an extra 2 points on his total. Platy in 5th, Zidane, again, fantastic race from him, P6. And Joseph Hales, what could have been potentially a top 6 finish, but a mistake near the end there. Padge, very consistent, good pace here tonight. Hissy and Greg rounding out the points. And here comes the battle for fastest lap. Will it be Smaller Smiley, Fury, or TD? Firebird should come home here in 12th. And let's get the fastest lap on the screen. Currently TD's. Smaller Smiley gets it and jumps ahead of Greg. Why is Greg falling? That's a bit of a glitch. That should not be happening. Fury gets the fastest lap. And what can TD do? He takes it by 0.4 of a second. Asthma Frog, well, it's not been the race that I'm sure he'd hoped for. He's had better, but sometimes you just have one of those nightmare races. But kudos to everyone who managed to finish that race. Driver of the day in-game is Hissy, but well, how can you overlook Deflated Wee tonight for driver of the day? I could throw a curveball and give it to someone else. Not that Deflated Wee doesn't deserve it, of course. Carito up 7 places, Platy up 4, Padge up 11 places. And considering he's only a pit stop away from the win, definitely could be a good shout as well. Hissy as well, very strong showing tonight. DNFs tonight, Mr. Wiggles retiring in the pits, Raven retiring out on track. May get a penalty for that or a warning, depending on how the stewards are feeling. Colucci, Aya, 1010, all retiring in the pits. Greg, a lap down, is... I'm not sure why he's a lap down. I believe he should have finished in 10th place. But we'll have to re-watch that. Firebird on his debut. Just missing the rule of not to press A. Hopefully next week, mate, you can remember that. That'd be fantastic. And TD with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Right, I'm going to give 2 drivers of the day. I'm going to give it joint to Deflated Wheat and Padge. Both had different races and giving it driver of the day for different reasons. However, both deserve it, in my opinion. Both drove the socks off that car, were very impressive, and drove to their absolute capability.